And as part of that, I'm going to increase the share of the dollars the federal government spends to small disadvantaged businesses, including black and brown small businesses. Right now it calls for 10%. I'm going to move that to 15% of every dollar spent will be spent for those. I have the authority to do that. The data shows young black entrepreneurs are just as capable of succeeding given the chance as white entrepreneurs are. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids, but they don't have lawyers. They don't have accountants.
Well, I'm a business owner. I have both. I have lawyers that I work with that I trust. I have accountants that I work with that I trust. I mean, this is ridiculous. I'm getting so sick of this man continuing to insult people because of the color of their skin. This is the same guy, though, that said that he didn't want his kids to go to integrated schools because it would become a racial jungle, right? That everything he learned about roaches, he learned from black people. Open your eyes, people. At what point are you going to realize this man is lethal, this man is poison, and he is a danger to America?
I'm especially honored to share the stage with Brittany and Jordan and Nathan and Margaret Catherine. I love those barrettes in her hair, man. I tell you what, and look at her. She looks like she's 19 years old, sitting there with her, like a little lady with her legs crossed.
This is actually how I escaped wokeness. I became a woke zombie for a while, and it was very much so due to college, just like every other story you hear. I'm very grateful to be out of that cult.
Daddy teaches you can be anything in this world that you want to be, right? Don't Daddy teach you that?
Yeah, and it doesn't matter if you're black or white or any color.
Doesn't matter if you're black, white, brown, yellow, right?
Black.
And how we treat people is based on who they are and not what color they are.
And if they're nice and smart.
See, this is how children think right here. Critical race theory wants to end that. Not with my children. It's not gonna happen. My baby's gonna know that no matter what she wants to be in life, all she has to do is work hard, and she can become that.
Work hard, even though you don't know anyone. You can make friends.
Yeah, you can make friends, no matter what color they are. So we need to stop CRT.
Don't change the channel, just give me 5 minutes. I ask 5 minutes, and if you still think that you probably want to unsubscribe and leave, that's fine. Just give me 5 minutes.
I'm saying before 2022, something has to be done.
Former President Donald Trump may have been banned from sites like Facebook and Twitter, but his interviews with right-wing media where he continues to repeat the big lie are giving some of his supporters the false hope that the 2020 election could still be overturned.
Stay tuned for Arizona. A lot of people are watching Arizona. You know, we need 2 states.
The former president pointing to a highly criticized Republican-led audit in Arizona as one way to overturn the election.
It's going to be a very interesting time in our country. It's going to be a very interesting time. You understand what that means, because it will be, how do you govern when you lost? How do you govern when you lost? So
let me take you to Arizona, where Republicans are conducting that bizarre audit.
We're now down to about 14 ballots that haven't been touched. When the county delivered the ballots, we're about 44, and we're now down to 14. So I think we're quickly coming up on about 2/3. Most ballots have 40 boxes on a ballot. So a ballot usually has between 40 and 50,000 ballots on a ballot.
And you guys are getting through probably one a day, would you say?
At least.
At least, okay. So maybe 1.5.
Yeah, I think we're doing about 1.5 pallets a day.
Wow.
And there's only 14 left. So if we're doing 1.5 a day, the counting could be done middle of June.
That is
now,
awesome.
The paper evaluation goes a little bit slower, but they've increased the paper evaluation tables from what was originally 8 to now there's 32. The paper evaluation will catch up quickly also. 5K images being taken by the cameras show you where the folds are on the ballot, alignment marks, and also looking at the oval in the presidential race to make sure that the oval was filled in by a human handheld device, not by a Xerox machine or something like that.
And so myself and Senator Chris Dush and Representative Rob Kaufman Met with our counterparts in the House and Senate today, which was fantastic. Went to the Capitol for a few hours. They gave us the legislative perspective on this audit, why they're doing it, how they got here, and they went through the process and how they protect people's privacy, how they ensure chain of custody, and how this is a free and transparent process. And so my impression of this right here is this is the way you do it. I mean, they're looking at the type of paper that was being used. They're looking at whether circles are filled in by machine, copy, or by hand. I mean, this is a level of technology we should have. If we got nothing to hide, then let's do this. Open up the books and let's do it. If you got something to hide there, then scream in outrage and pull your hair out and throw red herring arguments out to why this is a bad idea. I can't see any reason to argue against doing a full audit if the people ask for it. This process is very secure. Look at all the cameras down there. It's about finding out who won, who got the most votes, and that's it.
Anyway, this is not just about limiting access to voting. In some of these new laws, the changes to how elections will be administered are what could be most impactful. Let me take you to Georgia. That's a place where the law has already been enacted. It's already been enacted. And this takes power away from the Secretary of State's office.
You have the constitutional authority and permission to do it.
You're seeing this same thing that happened over years and years, with foreign terrorist organizations. It's the same type of methodology. All the things that you see that can radicalize people based on the fact that this is a war between good and evil. And if there's a war between good and evil and there's no middle ground, you're willing to do things other people aren't to make sure that you win. And that's when you see radicalized violence.
I should have broke your thumb.
President Biden today announcing a national month of action to help the country reach his goal. 70% of adults with at least one dose by the 4th of July.
Free beer for everyone 21 years or over to celebrate the independence from the virus.
The president announcing new help today, free childcare in some communities while parents get vaccinated, to a promise of free beer tonight. And of course, the states with vaccination lotteries now millions of dollars up for grabs.
The media, the Democrats, and the so-called experts are now finally admitting what I first said 13 months ago. The evidence demonstrates that the virus originated in a Chinese government lab. Couldn't say it. You couldn't say it. And Dr. Fauci, who I actually got along with, he's a nice guy. He's a great promoter, Not a great doctor, but he's a hell of a promoter. He likes television more than any politician in this room. And they like television.
Wow, you mean to tell me Dr. Fauci is a big old fraud? You mean to tell me everything he's been telling us for the last year and a half has just been a big old lie? Man, you mean to tell me Dr. Fauci over here, that's Hitler. You mean to tell me Dr. Fauci over here funded this whole thing? Oh, man. Would have never imagined this. So this orange man was right about this whole thing?
At that moment, one of the leading science journals in the world, The Lancet, published a letter that was signed by 27 scientists. That letter declared flatly and for all time that the coronavirus did not originate in a lab in Wuhan and that you'd have to be a bigot to believe otherwise. Now that letter, we now know, was organized by Peter Daszak. Daszak is a man with everything to gain by pretending that COVID came from a wet market. Daszak was involved in gain-of-function research at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Emails show that Peter Daszak carefully selected other signatories to the Lancet letter so that this obviously disqualifying conflict of interest would remain secret. At one point, Daszak wrote to another scientist called Ralph Baric, who was also working on gain-of-function research in China, telling him not to sign the letter. Here's why, quote, "We'll put it out in a way that doesn't link it back to our collaboration so we maximize an independent voice," end quote. So the whole thing was a fraud, and yet it worked. It was in the Lancet. Everyone trusts the Lancet. In fact, Tony Fauci himself cited Daszak's letter as proof that the virus was not caused by research he was funding.
If you look at the evolution of the virus in bats and what's out there now, it's very, very strongly leaning towards this could not have been artificially or deliberately manipulated, the way the mutations have naturally evolved. A number of very qualified evolutionary biologists have said that everything about the stepwise evolution over time strongly indicates that it evolved in nature and then jumped species.
In one instance, they discovered that Xi Jinping, the bat lady in Wuhan, had collected samples of a bat coronavirus that were virtually identical to COVID-19. Where did she get these samples? Well, she found them in a cave in the Yunnan province in China. Several miners had been killed there after inhaling the bat guano left by these bats. She recognized this virus was significant because it had moved directly to humans without going through an intermediate animal host first. The Chinese seemed to be looking for the most dangerous virus they could find, and in that cave they found it. After the coronavirus pandemic began, Xi Jinping tried to hide that COVID-19 was virtually identical to this virus that she had collected in the mine. In her records, she renamed the virus to hide its source. Peter Daszak then published a paper with Xi Jinping categorizing all the various coronavirus strains they had encountered in recent years. The paper listed hundreds of them. And yet somehow, and you'll be surprised by this, they omitted the deadly viruses found in the Yunnan mine. Funny. Vanity Fair obtained a memo from Thomas D'Annunzio, who was then the acting assistant secretary of the State Department's Arms Control Bureau. In that memo, he wrote that staff from 2 State Department bureaus had warned leaders within his office, quote, not to pursue an investigation into the origin of COVID-19 because it would, quote, open a can of worms. These are Americans working to hide the truth of the origin of COVID-19 from a country that's been destroyed by COVID-19.
The time has come for America and the world to demand reparations and accountability from the Communist Party of China. We should all declare within one unified voice that China must pay. They must pay. In addition, all nations should work together to present China a bill for a minimum of $10 trillion to compensate for the damage they've caused. And that's a very low number. The damage is far, far greater than that. As a first step, all countries should collectively cancel any debt they owe to China as a down payment on reparations.
Something in a bipartisan way. We can't continue on these types of projects because we were able to bring everything to fruition working through a bipartisan way. The Republicans didn't get everything they wanted the last time, as you recall. And basically, we're not going to get everything, but we can move forward. And the president has that desire and the urgency to get something big done.
You're not ready to go for Democrats to do this alone on reconciliation right now.
I've always been to the point where we've got to work together. You know, you can only do so much by yourself. And that's what we're not designed to work that way. The House is. The House was designed strictly for what they do. It comes hard at you, whether it's Republicans in control or Democrats. The Senate was never designed that way. The Senate was designed for, okay, I see that right there, but we can, you know, we can maneuver that a little bit and we can massage it a little bit and make it a little bit better.
The Republicans, will you do it without them?
We have no choice but to move forward.
If Republicans want to come on board seriously, great. If not, we're going to do it alone.
I think we are getting pretty close to a Fisher cut bait moment.
Can you just take it off the table and say you'll never reduce the 60-vote threshold on the filibuster?
Let me just tell you one thing. We're going to make the Senate work the way it was intended to work. I'm totally committed to that. And I'm not throwing caution to the wind. I have never desired to do that. I've listened to everybody's point of view. But the bottom line is, this country has got to unite it. We can't divide it.
I hear all the folks on TV saying, why doesn't Biden get this done? Well, because Biden only has a majority of effectively 4 votes in the House and a tie in the Senate, with 2 members of the Senate who vote more with my Republican friends.
You have called for an assault weapons ban. I have a simple question for you. What is an assault weapon?
Senator, an assault weapon would be, in the context of the question you asked, what Congress defines it as. The bill to ban assault weapons is
what is your
dozens of
definition of
pages.
an
There's
assault
no way I could define an assault weapon.
You don't have
in a
any.
second.
You're going to run this agency, and you don't have a definition of assault weapon.
But I would be enforcing the definition that members
Yeah,
of
but
Congress
you're going to be
passed.
issuing rules and regulations. Just give me your definition.
I'll give you one definition that ATF
Give me your
currently
definition.
uses. One definition that ATF currently
Give me your definition.
I can give you one definition.
If you won't
that ATF
answer my
currently
question, how can I vote for you? I'm done, Mr. Chairman. I don't think I'm going to get an answer.
I'm amazed.
And do you need any medical attention?
I don't think so, but
Okay. Your license is right here.
It's right here.
Yeah. So I need you to take it out of your phone. Have you had anything to drink today? No?
I want you to look down at your toes and count 1 1,000, 2 1,000. Hold on. I'm going to demonstrate for you. I just need you to stand with your feet together, hands down by your side until I'm done telling you, okay? Ma'am, I need you to stand with your right foot in front of your left foot.
Do you mind if I ask a question?
Absolutely, go ahead. What was the question?
I wanted to know if Director Shea.
What does Director Shea have to do with anything right now?
Well, because I can see that you're looking for something that isn't there.
Okay.
All right.
So Director Shea has 0 to do with this stop though right now, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay? So I need you to stand with your right foot in front of your left foot. No, face me. Face me. I need you to stand with your right foot in front of your left foot. Hands down by your side. Put your right foot in front of your left foot.
Because I'm shaking.
If you need the medical attention, we're going to get you the medical attention.
Okay, I'd like to get medical.
Okay, no problem. I'm asking you if you need the medical attention, we're going to get you the medical attention.
Okay, I'd like to get medical.
Okay, no problem.
Right now, at this time, we don't get placed under suspicion of DUI, okay?
All right, just put your hands behind your back.
No.
Listen.
No.
Please. Listen, let's not. Just put your hands behind your back.
I looked at her brother.
Car accident. She said she was dizzy. Okay.
Just bring. Okay? Thank you.
Just put her over.
And on stop 4, we're going to have 1 under with suspicion of DUI. Can we have a brief officer respond to this location for a minute now, please?
And what?
Not down.
Now, I said that I could see that I was dizzy and I needed to go to the hospital.
If you like this video, press like. If you love it, subscribe.